Now I will continue to explain ADHD and how the DSM-5 presents the criteria for diagnosing ADHD. In this slide, we see here an animation or a picture of just a person, an adult, who may be diagnosed with ADHD and how it feels for them to live with it. And you can see some of the things that they struggle with: concentration, remembering information, following directions, organizing tasks, and finishing work on time. Now, when it comes to the overview of the condition in the DSM-5, some of the diagnostic criteria under Section A reads: persistent patterns of inattention and or hyperactivity, impulsivity that interferes with functioning or development. And the patient would have to be able to be classified by 1 and or 2. So the patient under Section A, the patient would have to have 6 or more of the following symptoms persistent in their behavior for the last 6 months. Here we also see the DSM-5 of ADHD criteria continued, and these are the areas where the patient would have to check off at least 6 of these subcategories. Some of these subcategories for ADHD mention things of the nature of fails to give close attention to details or makes careless mistakes, often has difficulty sustaining attention in tasks and playing activities, often does not seem to listen when spoken to directly, often does not follow through on instructions and fails to finish schoolwork, chores, or duties at the workplace, often has difficulty organizing tasks and activities, i.e. difficulty just doing tasks and keeping up with things within their daily function, often avoids, dislikes, or is reluctant to engage in tasks that require sustained mental effort, i.e. schoolwork or homework, often loses things necessary for tasks or activities, is often easily distracted or loses stimuli, is often forgetful on daily activities. Here are some more subcategories that would need to be met to help diagnose someone with ADHD. Often has difficulty organizing tasks and activities, often avoids, dislike, or reluctant to engage in tasks required sustained mental effort, often easily distracted. And then under the category of hyperactivity and impulsivity, the patient would have to present with 6 or more of the following symptoms or behavioral manifestations. Under Section A, often fidgets with or taps hands or feet or squirms in a seat, so it's difficult for the patient to sit still. Often leaves seat in situation when remaining seated is expected. Often runs about or climbs in situations where it is inappropriate. Often is unable to play or engage in leisure activities quietly. The patient could also talk excessively and blurt out answers and questions uncontrollably. Often has a difficulty waiting his or her turn, and often interrupts or intrudes on others within conversation, for example. These are all things that within category A that we would be looking for that would match up with the diagnosis of ADHD. Here we see that usually when adults have ADHD, that they would have these symptoms since they were younger. And this is the last section for the diagnosis of ADHD. And here we see just areas where we need to specifically look for when diagnosing in terms of criteria.